guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little educational video on LiPo batteries. So if you're new to RC, you might not really know what LiPo batteries are, or the difference between a LiPo battery and, say, I don't know, a lithium ion battery or a nickel metal hydride battery. So today is just going to be about LiPo batteries, or to give it its full name, lithium polymer. So they come in various different shapes and sizes, from something as tiny as that, which is just a single cell battery. We'll get into how many cells these batteries can have in a minute, and different connector types that are on there. But basically LiPo batteries are the kind of batteries that you're going to get the most power from. So if you've got a really expensive RC car, chances are it's going to run on a LiPo battery, or at least be capable of running on a LiPo battery. The cheaper end of the market generally use either lithium ion or nickel metal hydride, but like I say, today's going to be about LiPo batteries. These can be a little bit temperamental. You need to look after them a little bit better than you would a normal battery. They can catch fire. There's precautions that you need to take when running LiPo batteries. So if you're a beginner, definitely watch the video all the way through, because you're going to learn something. If you do learn something, give us a like at least. Comment in the comment section below if you've got any questions after the video that we haven't covered, or just let us know of your experiences of running LiPo batteries, because touch wood, I've not had any negative effects of running a LiPo battery, but I know people that have. Like I say, these things can catch fire, and they're pretty horrific when they do catch fire, but there are precautions you can take to prevent that happening, providing you know what you're doing. So let's crack on. We'll go through some different types of LiPo batteries. Like I say there, we've got a single cell with just one power lead. You'll see that one there. You can go up to, you see the size difference there, look, let me just show you the size difference. So they come in all kinds of sizes. This is a relatively small one, and this is probably a medium sized one. But you'll see it's got two leads on this one. And the reason it's got two leads is because it's more than one battery. It's actually two batteries, beg your pardon. That's three batteries joined together, basically. So, and the reason it's got this second lead here, it's called a balance lead, is because when you charge that battery or discharge the battery, you need to discharge or charge each cell at the same rate to the same voltage. Otherwise it becomes unbalanced, and that's not a good thing. Unbalanced batteries are not safe, and you won't get them to work as they should work. If you plug it into a charger, you can then balance the battery either up or down. So that one's what's called a 3S battery, or 3 cells. So it's got 3 different batteries all joined together, whereas the little battery was just a single cell battery, hence why it doesn't have a balance lead on it, because there's nothing to balance. It's just got one cell. You charge it up, you discharge it down, simple as that. But when you come to 2 cell batteries, 3 cell batteries, 4 cell batteries, etc, etc, you need a balance lead, but you also need a power lead. So that's what the power goes into and comes out of when you're using it. And you'll see it's got a yellow plug on there, and that's an XT60 connector. And believe me when I say there's dozens of different connector types. So if you're looking for a battery, there are quite a few kind of different things you need to look for. You need to get the right number of cells. You need to get the right connector. There's another thing on there, I don't know if you can see it. It's got 1000 milliamp hours, which is basically the capacity of the battery. So we go back to our little one. That's 400 milliamp hours. So that's how much capacity the battery will hold, how much power it will hold. That one's a 1000 milliamp hour battery. So again, that's how much power it'll hold. And you can get the same size batteries, but with bigger capacities. So it could still be a 3 cell, could still have the XT60 connector on the end, but it could hold more power. It could be a 1500 milliamp, for example. So you'll see there we've got the this one is a 1000 milliamp 3-cell battery, 11.1 volts. Now the number of cells determines how many volts it's going to be overall. So every cell will be a fraction of the overall voltage. So we could have, say, I'll bring another battery into the equation. We could have a 2-cell battery, same balance lead, again a different connector on the end. That's called a Dean's connector. That one is a 5000 milliamp battery, so quite a big capacity, but it's a 2-cell, so it's 7.4 volts. So we've got 7.4, we've got 11.1, and then we've got a 3. Oh, I can't even read that. What is that? 3.7 volts. 3.7 volts for the little one. So they're all kind of like a denomination, but they're all going to be round about 3.7 volts times 2 times 3 times 4. So yeah, you've got loads of different LiPo batteries to choose from, and it's difficult when you're new to RC to know which battery you want, because like I say, the connector type could be Dean's connector, it could be XT60 connector, we've got XT90, we've got EC5, we've got IC5, we've got Tamiya, we've got mini Tamiya or micro Tamiya. There are so many different connection types. So when it comes to getting the right battery for the car, you ultimately want to buy the battery with the right connector on, the battery that's the right number of cells or voltage, and one that's got the right capacity for your car. Or, you know, if you want to run, I don't know, let's say a 3-cell race car and you want to get 30 minutes use out of it, you're probably going to want it on a higher capacity battery, so like a 5000 milliamp battery. But these things also, the kind of the capacity, the voltage, the connector, the balance lead, all of those things come into play as well when you're charging the battery up. So we've got a couple of different chargers to show you. We have got the eTronics PowerPal 3. So this will charge batteries up to 6-cell. So that one is a 2-cell. So batteries that will have 6 batteries joined together effectively. So that'll do up to a 6-cell battery. Not just a 6-cell, but up to a 6-cell. But to connect the battery to this is where the fun starts. And this is what beginners don't often understand. So basically, you'd have a power lead, your normal figure of 8 lead that you'd plug in the wall, so that's a given, you'd plug that in. But then you have things like these, and if you're not used to charging LiPo batteries, you'd be looking at it thinking, what is it? So this is a balance board. So this is what enables you to balance the battery, or the charger to balance the battery while it's charging. So let's go ahead and we'll just show you how it works. You plug one end in there, like so. And the charger is going to have a connector on it. So we'll plug the balance board into the charger. There we go, that's done. So that's one of the cables that needs plugging into the charger. Your power lead with a UK plug on the end of it, your balance board, and then it gets a little bit more complicated. You have then got your power lead to the battery. So we've got a red and a black power lead. These are called banana plugs, 4mm banana plugs. We'll plug one in the red hole, one in the black hole. There we go. So there we go. We've got both of those in. And on the end of this, we have got an XT60 connector. So that is going to be a male version of the XT60. So when we go to our battery that has got the XT60 on it, that's going to have a female version of the XT60. And guess where it goes? You got it. In the male version. So that then joins the charger to the battery. But we've still got this thing. This is the balance plug, which it goes in the balance board, which we plugged in a second ago. Now on the balance board, you've got all the different plug types depending on the size of the battery. So you've got a 3-cell, a 4-cell, a 5-cell, a 6-cell, I don't know, goes, yeah, all the way up to 6. So because this is a 3-cell battery, we need to plug it into the correct size port on the board, and it'll fit in the one that is the same size as the balance plug. So we look on there, the smallest one on there is a 2-cell, so the next one down is a 3-cell, and we've got a 4-cell, 5-cell, 6-cell, 7-cell, 8-cell. So I lied when I said this will do 6-cell, it actually do up to 8. Not that you're gonna ever see an 8-cell battery, I don't think. Maybe you will, I don't know. Probably not very often. So basically what we're gonna do, I'll plug this 3-cell balance lead into the balance board, like that. So now we've got everything connected. So we need to program the battery charger to tell it what battery we're running, because this can charge multiple batteries, not just LiPo, nickel metal hydride, lithium ion, all kinds of batteries. But if we plug it in, it doesn't know what battery we've plugged in, so we need to tell it. So there's a few things we need to tell it. First of all, we need to tell it how many cells the battery is, or what voltage the battery is. So in this case, we're going to tell the battery charger it's 11.1 volts, which is a 3-cell battery. Those things go hand in hand. The next thing we need to tell it is how we want to charge it. Do we want to balance charge it? Do we want to fast charge it? Do we want to put it into storage mode? And again, I'll go through those things in a second. Again, remember, this is just a beginner video, so we're not going too in depth, but we're going to give you the basics of what you need to do to charge safely. So we'll go back to, we're going to tell it to balance charge. That's what we recommend. These chargers will do something called fast charge, but what the fast charge doesn't do is balance the cells, which, as we said earlier, isn't a great idea. You really need to balance the cells as you're charging. So we always recommend using a balance charge. So we're going to put it on balance, program it to run on a balance mode. We're going to tell it how many volts, as I've said. So it's going to be 11.1 volts. Then we're going to tell it how fast we want it to charge. And we do that by telling the charger how many amps we want to charge at. So basically, as a rule of thumb, you need to charge it at 1 amp per 1000 milliamp hours. So this is a 1000 milliamp hour battery. So we're going to tell the charger to charge at 1 amp. If it was a 2000 milliamp hour battery, we could tell the charger to charge at 2 amps. And the same goes for this one. It's a 5000 milliamp battery. So we tell the charger to charge at 5 amps. You can charge at a lower rate, it's not a problem, it'll just take longer. We don't really recommend charging at a higher rate. If you're desperate to get the battery charged ASAP, you could probably do 1500 or 1.5 amps on a 1000 milliamp battery. But again, it's not really recommended to go much over and above the capacity of the battery in terms of how many amps you're going to put into it. But you can do on the odd occasion if you're desperate to get the battery charged a little bit faster. So a 5000 milliamp battery, you could charge it 7.5 amps. But we like to say charge it at the capacity of the battery that it actually is. So 5000 milliamps, 5 amps. And that's pretty much it. So you've got your three settings: balance charge, charge it at the right rate, so 1 amp on a 1000 milliamp battery, and tell it that you are charging a 3-cell battery or 11.1 volts, and then sit back and wait for it to charge. However, because it's a LiPo battery and they can catch fire, you know, it does happen, and I'm sure it's going to happen to people in the comments. If you've ever had a LiPo catch fire, let us know in the bottom, because people don't think it happens, but it can. You've got something called a Lipo Bag. This is quite a large LiPo bag, and you're probably not going to want to put something that size into a bag this size, but if you've got bigger batteries, you know, you can put a couple in maybe, and it's good for storage as well as charging. But we recommend putting your LiPo batteries into a LiPo bag while you're charging them, just in case the unthinkable happens. And it's one of the reasons that some charger manufacturers put warning labels on their kit, and that's, I don't know if you can read it, but I'll read it out. It says, "Stop, never leave battery or charger unattended while charging." And that's really good advice. So don't take your eye off the battery. You can put it in a LiPo bag. That's it's always a good habit to get into. Ultimately, you're going to want to charge LiPo batteries on a concrete surface with nothing around that's flammable. I'm probably scaring the living daylights out of you. It's really rare, but it can happen. Charge it outside on a concrete or a paving slab. If you're going to put it in your garage, make sure it's in a LiPo bag and on something like a concrete floor. You can buy like ammo tins from army surplus stores. You know, take the seals out of it so you don't create a pressure cooker, and maybe drill some holes in it. But a metal ammo tin is always a good place to charge batteries. And if you're not using them, store them in the LiPo bags. Just put them in there, and they'll be nice and safe. You know. So if you're going to charge in a LiPo bag, we recommend putting the battery in the bag with the leads poking out the side like that. So Velcro the bottom down, and then plug that end into your charger while it's charging. Like I say, this is quite a big bag. This is more for storage than for charging, to be fair. It's quite a big bag, so you can get bags that are, you know, half this size and half that size again. So yeah, that's all. Just a safety tip really, so that you keep yourself safe. Some batteries, just to throw this into the mix, this is a Traxxas battery. It's a LiPo. It's 5,000 milliamps. It's 3 cell, so it's 11.1 volts, but it's only got one plug on it. What's going on there, I can hear you ask? Where's the balance lead? The Traxxas battery has got their ID plug on it, and as you can see there, it's just one plug. And that one plug, if you plug that into a Traxxas ID charger, will figure out the balancing at the same time that it's putting power into the battery. So there's no fiddling about with balance boards or balance plugs. That one is just literally one plug into the charger. The charger knows what battery it is from plugging it in, because it's a smart plug, or a smart charger at least. So if you plug a 2-cell battery into a Traxxas charger, it's going to know it's a 2-cell. If you plug a LiPo battery into a Traxxas charger, it's going to know it's a LiPo battery. Equally, if you plug a different type of battery in that's got the ID connector on it, it's going to know what battery type that is as well. So it's always worth, you know, bearing in mind, if you're going to go for a Traxxas car with Traxxas batteries, that the Traxxas charger, it's a little bit easier and a little bit less fiddly to charge the batteries up, because you've just got the one plug. So we're talking about different battery type connectors. We've got a few in here. Look, let's open this up and I can show you a couple more. So we've got Tamiya connector. We've got XT60s you've seen before. Dean's is really popular. There you go, that's got the Dean's end on it. But there's all kinds of different plugs, like I say, there's XT90, there's EC5, there's IC5, which are very similar, to be fair. But they are different, so you need to make sure that if you buy a battery charger, that it either comes with the lead that's got the right end on it, or buy the lead at the time you buy the battery charger for the battery that you've got. Some cars will run on 2 batteries, something like the Traxxas Sledge. And again, if you're running a car on 2 batteries, that's something else you've got to be careful of, is that the batteries are charged up to the same level. So for example, if I plug that into my Traxxas Sledge and then I got another one which only had half the charge in it, you're going to cause a massive issue, because what the full battery will try to charge the less full battery in like a nanosecond. and can cause a massive fire. So if you're running a car that's got 2 batteries, you need to make sure that they've both been charged to the same voltage. So if you're going to run, like I say, a tractor sledge, make sure that you fully charge both batteries before you take it out. What you don't want to do is charge one battery up and then forget to charge the other one up, and then plug them both in, because like I say, one battery is going to then discharge a lot of its voltage into the other battery in an instant, and probably cause it to catch fire or explode. You got little battery chargers like this as well. So this is a little USB charger. That's for the 1-cell battery. So because it's 1 cell, you don't need to balance it. So you would literally just plug that into there, plug that into a little USB port on your computer or into a plug, and then that will just charge up. It's got a little LED in there that will tell you when it's fully charged. And then the other thing is, LiPo batteries don't really like to be stored either full or empty, which is a little bit of a pain. And it's one of the reasons that a charger like that will have something called storage mode. So if you know you're not going to be using your batteries for a little while, and when I say a little while, I mean like 3 or 4 days, you can put them into storage mode, which then means you can leave them for, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe 2 or 3 months. Because batteries don't like to be stored flat or fully charged. So if you've taken your car out and you've run your LiPo battery completely flat, it's not going to be completely flat, there's going to be a little bit left in it, but flat enough that it's not going to power your car. If you leave that battery like that, over time it will kind of lose that little bit of power that it's got left in it, and then when you come to charge it up, it's going to be dead and you're not going to be able to use it. There are ways, which I'm not going to go into in this video, that you can sometimes bring it back to life, but again, it's quite a dangerous thing to do, so we don't want beginners doing that. So basically, if you leave your batteries stored flat and go back to them in a few months' time, chances are they're going to be dead. Let's say you fully charge the batteries on a Friday evening, you're planning going out on a Saturday, and you don't go for whatever reason. I don't know, it's raining, something better come up. So you've got your battery charged and it's fully charged. It's not a good state to leave it in. So you've got a couple of options. Either you can put the battery in your car and run it about for half of how long the battery would normally last. So let's say it would normally last you 20 minutes from full to empty. Run it around for 10 minutes. That's going to roughly put it at 50% power, which is where you should be storing the battery at ideally. Or you can plug it into your battery charger with a storage mode feature, which this one has, and you can tell the battery charger to discharge the battery down to 50%. It takes quite a while, to be fair, because it's not drawing a lot of the power from the battery. It's just warming it up and taking a little bit of power very slowly. So it'll take quite a while to discharge down to 50%, but it's something that you need to do if you're not going to be using your battery for any length of time. Like I say, because they don't like to be stored fully charged. And what will happen if you do store it fully charged, or could happen, over time, if you're consistently doing it, it won't happen if you just do it at once. You'd be very unlucky if it did. But it'll start to expand, and on these hard case batteries, it's difficult to see that happening, but if it gets really bad, it'll crack the side of the battery, the seam, and it'll kind of, you'll see it they'll call it getting puffy. You'll see it getting puffy. It's a lot easier to see a puffy battery when it's not the hard case, when it's just wrapped in kind of like a plastic film, like the Traxxas batteries are. But if that happens, it's time to put it in a Lipo bag permanently and dispose of it properly. You have to contact your local council, the recycling centre, and get them to dispose of it properly, because it's not something you can just throw in the bin. needs to be done responsibly. Let's show you another type of charger. This one's a little bit easier for beginners. This is the Radiant Mistral. You got your little 4mm banana plugs in the end. So again, you just plug in your cable that it comes with. You know, one in the black one in the red one. And the balance board on this one is actually built into the charger. So we can see that that'll do a 2-cell, 3-cell, 4-cell, 5-cell and 6-cell. And rather than have the digital screen where you need to program the PowerPal 3, this one's just got a few buttons, so you can press LiPo, lithium ion, nickel metal hydride or NiCad, and that'll go through the 3 different battery types that it can charge. And then you've got a dial on the front where you can change it from 0 amps all the way up to 5 amps. So this is a 5 amp charger for up to a 6-cell battery. But it's nice and easy to program. You know, there's no digital screens that you've got to go in and remember what the button presses are. And these are great, the PowerPal Mini 3s, oh sorry, the PowerPal 3s. But these are just easier. And again, you've got the power lead on the back there. So if you've got any questions about LiPo batteries in general, charging LiPo batteries in general, then just hit us up in the comments below. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help. I can't think of anything else really that a beginner would need to know about LiPo batteries. But if I've missed anything, we're going to be doing more videos on batteries. Like I say, this is just a beginner video. We're going to do an intermediate, maybe in an advanced. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video, if you learned anything from it. Give us a like, give us a comment, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you on the next video. Cheers, guys.